Hello there. We are continuing our series Guide to the Chess Improvement for Adults, and also I'm continuing to talk about openings. In the first video I stated, you'll find the link below, of course. I stated some general principles and share with you my thoughts about how you should and should not approach opening studies. And now in this video I want to share with you two games I recently played, and to show you in practice what why did I come to conclusions I did, and how does it look. Okay, so let's begin. In the first game, it was played in Krapina in the beginning of this year. It was over the board tournament, classical time controls, federated. So my opponent played d4. Okay. At this point I didn't know any opening theories. I just have some vague ideas about playing something like Slav or something, semi-Slav. So I played d5. He played c4, so Queen's Gambit. I played c6. He played knight c3, and I played e6. So this is the setup for Slav defense. So you have this pyramid here, and I saw somewhere, I don't know where, I saw this pyramid, and I thought it's a nice way to defend. With this knowledge, I would not recommend to play e6, because I'm locking up my bishop on c8. And on this level, it is quite difficult to play, even if your all pieces are out. And once you play e6, you have trouble developing this piece on c8, this bishop, and then you end up playing half of the game with being one piece down. So I will not recommend to play this setup. But okay, I play this. So I develop my pieces. So natural squares for this knight is this one, of course, since c6 is occupied. I have to develop to the d7. And next I will develop to my knight to f6, and this bishop can go either here or here. So, okay. He opened up his bishop. I played natural developing move. He played h3. I don't know why. Okay, I played bishop e7, developing my bishop, preparing to castle. Okay, and now I castle. Just for a reference, this position is evaluated at 0.3. So although I didn't know any theory, I didn't play very sound defense with these pawns here. This bishop is probably misplaced. It should be here, and so on. But still, it's 0.3, so it's completely playable position. Okay, the game continued, and I will come soon. I will soon come to my point. Okay, now I took this this pawn, and this is some idea I picked up somewhere. So it's when black has to play d takes c4 at one point, and the best time to play it is after this slice where bishop has been moved. Because if I took it before, let's say here, then he can recapture in one move and develop his bishop at the same time. But now when he moved his bishop, then I can take, and then he has to move his bishop again, and I gain in tempo. So this is just some kind of idea. Okay, and now my idea was to advance this queenside pawns, which is not very good idea for, and it will be obvious why. But I just create lots of weakness in the process. But okay, it looks nice. I can harass these pieces, kick them away, and maybe get some space on the queen side. Okay, so I continued with my plan. He stopped my further expansion, and I played b4. Okay, he kicked away his knight. Sorry. Okay, and at this moment I realized that I have to do something with this bishop on c8, so I offered the exchange, he accepted, and I took with the rook. So this rook is now doing nothing. It's misplaced. So this was the price I paid for playing opening which does not allow good piece play. So my bishop was stuck, and I had to do something about it, and it ended up with my rook being misplaced. So this is why I would recommend, if you play c6, just play normal Slav. So put your bishop out as soon as possible, and you'll have a nicer piece play. Okay, now he castled. I took the knight, he took back. Okay, at this point the evaluation of position, even if with my misplaced rook and this range expansion, is 0.1. So this is equal position. So this is one of my points. So even though my opponents knew his theory very well, because I analyzed the game with him afterwards. We sit in the cafe and we analyze the game. So he knows much theory, and I didn't know any theory at this moment. And still on move 16 the position is equal. So this shows you that knowing opening theory on this level is not a crucial thing. Okay, and at this position I made a mistake and got myself in a very bad position. So I played knight f6. With the idea that I will go to d5, and then maybe when he moves this pawn, because this pawn is a target, then I can put my knight on the c3 and have my active knight in opponent's camp on a very active outpost. So this was my vague idea how to continue. But I didn't see this pawn, and this pawn on c6 is very weak, and I should have seen this. And I didn't see this because I didn't have chess knowledge to see this at this moment. So this is called, let's go back to the position. So this is called backward pawn. Backward pawn on the semi-open file is a permanent weakness in the position. So if you have a backward pawn in a semi-open file, you should your attention should be on this pawn. You have to sort this out. This cannot be for long. So I should have, in this position, I should have played c5 and everything would be equal. But I didn't know this, and then I played f6. Okay, so this pawn is now weak, and my opponent soon exploits this weakness. So he moves away his queen to d3, I play queen b6, he immediately put his rook on the semi-open file, pressuring my weak point. So what's another problem with backward pawn? Not just this pawn is weak and I will lose this pawn very soon, but also this square then becomes the penetration point for the heavy pieces, white heavy pieces, and he'll just penetrate my camp. Okay, so I played here. He went bishop e5, and I decided to move away this bishop with f6. Which is very bad move. In fact, he later told me that he played this e5 hoping that I will go f6, and I did. So this is terrible now. So now my king is exposed. Is exposed on this diagonal. This e6 pawn becomes weak. So this is a very bad move. Never play f6. So, but it's not the point. But this is another bad move. Okay. And now he continues to pressure my c6 weakness. Okay, and now, and I will stop here, and you can just imagine how my position will soon crumble. He's controlling the only open file in the game. He's ready to put his third heavy piece in the open file. My e6 pawn is weak, then soon my d5 knight will be weak, and so on. So this is a terrible position, and the computer engine evaluates is plus 2.2. Okay, so why am I showing you this game? Because of my reaction after the game. So I was very angry at myself, and I was angry because I thought I came to the tournament unprepared. And I thought that this lack of preparation was responsible for for this terrible position I found myself in. So my reaction was to go to Amazon and to purchase these books. So this is a starting out series, Slav and semi-Slav. This is very thick book with lots of variations, games, and so on. So my intention was to get this book, to lock myself down in the room with a chessboard and to study this Slav or semi-Slav ad nauseam. So to learn all the variations and all responses and everything, and then I will be better, and things like this will not happen again. So this was my idea, and of course it was completely wrong, because if you look at this game, so what brought me to this bad position? Not the lack of my opening preparation, but the lack of my general chess knowledge. It's obvious. So I should have. Okay, let's go back. So this was the first mistake. Okay, so this one. So in this position, I didn't see that I have a weak point in my camp, that I have a backward pawn on the semi-open file, and this was the first positional mistake I made. So this was the first positional blunder, and then afterwards I made another positional blunder by playing f6. So these two moves led me to this position, and I soon lost the game. So the moral of the story is don't blame the openings. So if you find yourself in a bad position, it's not because of your lack of your opening preparation, but you should just work more on your acquiring general chess knowledge. And if you fall in the trap in the opening, then you should train your tactical vision. Okay, I will now show you another game. Okay, just like this. Okay. Now this game was played, I played this online league, Lichess 45-45, and this is the online game. I played as black, and this is what happened. So my opponent opened with e4, I played e5, and he played queen to h5. So this move, queen to h5, this is the first time ever I encountered this move. So it's interesting. I never met this move before. Although this is well known opening trap called Scholar's Mate. So the idea is to deliver checkmate on f7 after bishop develops on c4, and then you can deliver checkmate. This is called Scholar's Mate, and I know I've heard of Scholar's Mate, but I never met it, and I didn't know refutation. So from this moment on, from move 2, I was completely out of the book. So I just played by following general opening principles and pairing white's threat. So the first threat is just to capture e5 with check, so I have to do something about it. To play d6 would be too passive, so I just developed my piece. Okay. He continued with his threat, so he now wants to deliver checkmate on f7. I don't want to be checkmated, so I have to do something about it, and I found this defense, which turned out to be the best move in this position, but I didn't know this at this moment. It was just logical. So he moves his queen to f3, again threatening to checkmate me on f7, and I parry this threat by developing my other knight on f6. Okay, so the game continued. I will not analyze all the aspects of the game. So at this moment I played knight d4 with the idea that I can attack the queen on f3, and also I tried to capture pawn on c2 with the fork, capturing the rook. So this move is logical move, and the engine likes it. The engine thinks this is the best move in the position, but I didn't like it in my postmortem analysis, because I think it would be better for me to just continue development, just something like this. No, just to continue development. I'm here violating the opening principle move. I am moving my knight twice, my piece twice in the opening. So it's better not to acquire this kind of bad habits in chess. Okay, so he moves away his queen. I play h6, which is completely time-wasting move. I was afraid of having my knight pinned, so it was not a good move, but whatever. He develops, I take his knight, he puts his queen back to f3, and now I just, I want a castle. Okay. He castles. Now okay, at this moment I have the problem. I am looking at my least developed piece. This is c8, bishop c8. I have to do something about it, so I have to move this pawn away in order to open this bishop. But I figured that it will be better to grab the center, and so to play, not to play immediately d6, but to play d5, and then I will open my bishop. So I played c6 in order to prepare d5. Okay, so now I can play d5. This is good. So I'm playing in the center. I'm putting all my pawns in the center. So this is all according to principles. Okay, he moves away. Now I move my king away because I don't like being x-rayed, and it's also a time-wasting move. But okay. And now this is the crucial point in the game. So let's analyze this. So we are out of the openings. We are now in the middle game, and after the opening, so he played the play for white was not solid. So he played for a trick. He played for a trap, putting his queen out early, and he ended up in a cramped position. This is what happens usually if you play for a trap. If the trap works, great, you win the game, but if it doesn't work, then you are in the worst position. So the engine evaluates this position minus 0.7. But it still doesn't matter. So on our level, this is still playable for both sides, and neither side is losing. And you can't even say that one side is particularly worse, significantly worse than another. If you look at the white's pieces, so you can see this dark square bishop on c1. It's locked down. This pawn is blocked with this bishop. It cannot move. On the other side, there is this knight who is blocking the bishop, and this bishop is also blocking this rook. So he has some development problems, and he should, in this point, he should address these points, these problems. On the other hand, I am good developed. I have some space in the center. My bishop is ready to go to action. My knight is active, so my development is much better, and I have more space. So what is, if you think about general chess principles, what should you do if you are underdeveloped? You should develop. You are not to open the position, but you should think about how to develop your underdeveloped pieces. On the other hand, if you are better developed than your opponent, like I am in this position, then you should look to open the game, because when you open the game, then you have more active pieces, and then you have more tactical opportunities. So in this position, I should be the one looking the way to open the game, and he should be the one who doesn't want to open the game, but rather to keep the game closed and develop his pieces. And he obviously didn't know this principle, and he played f4. And this is the positional blunder. Now he, instead of me trying to open the position and not him, he opens the position for me. He basically does me a big favor here. So I immediately took, and this was now the position which is much better for me. So the computer, the engine evaluates minus 2.9, so almost minus 3 here. So the position is black's position is far more superior. And so once again, how did this happen? How did the white get in the position which is evaluated minus 3? not by not knowing his opening theory, and even not because he played unsound openings and he played for the trap. It's because he did this positional blunder. He didn't understand that he's underdeveloped and that he should not that the opening of the position will not favor him. So this is my point. Okay. And now I will just show you one more thing in this game. I will not go through all details. Okay, so the game continued. So you can see now once the game is opened, it becomes very wild. So it's reach of tactical opportunities. The pieces have their play, and anything can happen here. Okay, you'll see very soon. Okay, you can see now both of my pieces are in the vicinity of his king, and everything is open, and really anything can happen. So he continues to play. Okay, I have this exchange trick. I just want to come to one point to show you something. Okay, this is the position. Now he was not careful enough, and he allowed my queen to get to h4. This was like small blunder from his side. Okay, so once my queen is on h4, his bishop is pinned. It cannot move. So I started to think, okay, so his bishop is pinned. If I could take my this bishop with my queen, that will be checkmate. It will be very nice. So how can I do this? How can I pressure this point? And I saw that I can pressure it with my bishop. If only my bishop could come to a5, it will be unstoppable threat. So almost unstoppable. So I did some calculations, and I decided that this is the time to sacrifice my rook. So if I take this pawn on e5 with my rook, he takes back, I take with my bishop, threatening checkmate. He cannot move this pawn because it's pinned. Okay, so the only defense he can do is to put his knight on f3, then I can take his knight, and then he can choose between losing his queen or getting checkmated, because this bishop will attack his queen, and this bishop will threat checkmate. So this was my calculation, and I said, okay, I have better position, I have everything ready, so let's sack the rook. But of course this calculation was wrong, because if you play this variation, let's play it. So he takes on e5, I take it back, he blocks the checkmate with his knight, and now this is the position I calculated, and I was thinking, okay, now you can either lose your queen or you can get checkmated. But I didn't see that he can take my bishop, and this is the end of variation and the end of the game, because the engine evaluation is +10 for white. Okay, so at this point I didn't see that once this bishop moves that my queen will attack e5. So this is typical calculation error. My opponent took quite some time to think about this, but he didn't see. He also calculated, and he probably did the same wrong calculation as I did, so he didn't take the rook because he was afraid he will be checkmated. So instead he blocked my my bishop so that I cannot play this variant. Okay, and now the game continues. I pressure this h2 square further. Okay, I will just now show you one more thing in the game, tactical. Okay, now at this point he blundered his pawn because he played f4 and thinking that this bishop is protecting this pawn, but not really, because this bishop is pinned by the king. So I just took this pawn. So this is another blunder, tactical blunder. He played rook g1, I checked him, and now he had an opportunity to draw the game. So he should play queen g2, then after rook to e2, he can take on g7, and he has a perpetual check. Okay, but he didn't see this. Instead, he played rook g2, and I delivered the checkmate. Okay, so what is the moral of this story? Well, like before, so we both played openings. We were not very prepared for the openings. So he tried a trap. I just parried his threats, and the opening ended somehow. So at the end of the opening, he was a little bit worse, but not terribly. All he had to do was to develop his c1 bishop and to be careful, and everything would be okay. Instead, he led himself into a very bad position by playing this f4 move here, because of his lack of chess understanding. So he cannot blame the openings, he should blame his lack of general chess knowledge. And also, and even after this, so this position, if you remember, this position was evaluated -3 for black, but this still didn't decide the game. So although I did have a superior position, there were still many chances, and in the end the game was decided by tactics and tactical blunders. Okay, so this rook sacrifice was unsound, and I made a blunder. Then he made the blunder because he didn't see I made a blunder, and finally he got checkmated because he blundered just for a checkmate. Okay, so this was his final blunder, and then he got checkmated. You can see my point. So the most important thing on this level is tactics, then positional understanding, and then openings. So if you don't know any opening theory, if you know only general principles, and if you know to play good chess and good positional principles, and you have good tactical vision, tactical awareness, that should be quite enough to improve in chess. Okay, I hope this video was useful, and I will record one more video in regarding openings. I want to show one more game from one old master. Okay, stay with me, and cheers.